The traditional enterprise network perimeter has dissolved. Remote executive workflows and bring-your-own-device policies have moved high-value corporate data and access credentials onto hardware that lives outside the corporate firewall. Because these devices carry privileged access but operate with minimal visibility, they have become the primary focus for sophisticated entry into corporate networks. The standard enterprise response is to deploy centralized mobile device management, or MDM, assuming this closes the gap. But the legacy mobile threat defense solutions deployed through these MDM profiles rely almost entirely on semantic app scanning and cloud lookups to identify threats. As outlined in this executive brief, legacy mobile security is structurally incapable of stopping modern state-sponsored exploits. Relying on semantic scanning at the mobile edge offers an illusion of protection, leaving high-value targets entirely exposed. To understand why, we need to look at the baseline architecture of modern mobile operating systems like Apple iOS and Google Android. These operating systems enforce strict application sandboxes. They isolate processes to protect user data and ensure general privacy. In this architecture, the sandbox acts as a hard boundary. A security application is strictly prohibited from scanning the memory or core kernel processes. Advanced persistent threats bypass apps entirely using zero-click vectors, delivered as invisible messages through standard communication apps. Because these invisible vectors require absolutely zero user interaction, they bypass the semantic sandbox and strike the core kernel directly. Once the attacker compromises the kernel, they achieve root privileges. Operating at this depth, the malware functions completely beneath the semantic sandbox, rendering traditional endpoint detection and mobile threat tools completely blind. The exact mechanisms engineered to secure user privacy actively shield state-sponsored zero-click malware from enterprise detection. After compromising a device, an attacker's immediate objectives are clear: establish an encrypted command and control beacon, or exfiltrate intellectual property. If scanning the device memory to stop this is structurally impossible, security engineering must abandon the attempt. The alternative is to intercept and analyze the device's outbound network exhaust. This document outlines the PTCP Omnibus Cage, an architecture built specifically for this interception. It deploys using native Apple Network Extension and Android VPN Service APIs to create a lightweight on-device VPN loopback. This diagram illustrates the routing rules. 100% of the device's outbound traffic must flow through this local loopback before it is allowed to reach the physical Wi-Fi or 5G cellular modem. Legacy semantic scanning requires looking inside the data payload to identify threats. This fails immediately when analyzing encrypted command and control traffic. The PTCP engine replaces this with deterministic topological physics. Looking at this comparison, the PTCP engine evaluates the physical shape of the data flow over time, completely ignoring the payload contents inside the packets. When a zero-click exploit attempts to establish a beacon, it inherently alters the network physics of that data flow. The engine measures specific alterations in the exhaust, calculating anomalous burst rates, timing jitter, and destination entropy. These variations register as a topological defect, a mathematical anomaly that marks the data stream as malicious before it ever reaches the physical modem. Running continuous, complex tensor mathematics on a mobile endpoint would normally drain battery life and introduce severe network latency. The solution to this engineering constraint is asymmetric hardware compilation. Instead of taxing the main CPU, the heavy mathematical processing is routed away and offloaded directly onto the mobile device's neural processing unit. Utilizing hardware like the Apple Neural Engine guarantees zero latency throughput for standard 5G communications. Integrating topological heuristics with the NPU yields payload-blind, real-time threat detection with virtually zero impact on device battery life. Consider a scenario where a highly privileged, compromised employee phone connects to internal corporate Wi-Fi. The mobile device acts as a Trojan horse, initiating unauthorized lateral movement into the enterprise network. The PTCP engine instantly detects the topological defect caused by this lateral pivot attempt. In this topology map, the engine instantly drops the device's routing weight to 0. The threat is trapped locally, unable to exfiltrate data or pivot into the network. This immediate containment successfully restricts the blast radius to a single compromised endpoint. This process of autonomous, localized containment is true zero-trust microsegmentation. By severing the connection locally, without ever requiring a round-trip cloud lookup, the mobile endpoint transforms into an autonomous, self-quarantining sensor. Let's examine the overarching strategic value this architecture provides to the enterprise security posture. High-value targets like the C-suite, board members, and R&D leads face persistent targeting from bespoke, state-sponsored spyware. The Omnibus Cage guarantees that even if a VIP's device is deeply compromised by a zero-day weapon, that weapon cannot dial home. This directly addresses a major friction point for Chief Information Security Officers, enforcing security on employee devices without violating global privacy regulations. Because the system evaluates mathematical network physics rather than payload semantics, it is inherently payload blind. It does not read employee emails, scan text messages, or monitor browsing histories. This purely mathematical approach allows security leaders to mandate absolute enterprise protection while maintaining strict BYOD compliance. Information security strategies that ignore the distinct realities of the mobile edge leave the network perimeter incomplete. Extending a mathematically proven, privacy-compliant perimeter via MDM provides a mechanism to neutralize zero-click cyberweapons at their exact point of execution.